don't be fooled, guys. A lot of YouTubers will show you that it's really easy to get cinematic shots with an action camera, and they even tell you that you have just to dial some settings and you will get that Hollywood style. Well, actually, this is not true. Some others swear that you need ND filters in order to get to that cinematic look, but once again, this is not totally true. And some others are criticizing my channel because I make lots of comparisons between these cameras, whether from the same brand or from different brands, and I always use automatic modes on these cameras. And I can understand them because they say, well, their argument is that if you are not shooting in manual with these cameras, you will not get the max out of these tiny little things here. But here is the thing for me as a videographer, photographer, and content creators, that I've been using these cameras even before I started making YouTube videos. And actually, these are tiny little cameras. They are most likely like the point and shoot cameras that we had before, but these are more rugged and more robust, and they deliver good image quality. You can throw them in the water, you can throw them from a rock. You know, these are on a different level compared to the previous generation of point and shoot cameras. So for me, these cameras are for multi-purpose shoot, not only for action shots, extreme sports, and these kind of things. These cameras are here, you can record whatever you want with, but these are here for fun. So you can enjoy your outing, you can enjoy your time outside, you can enjoy the moments, you can record some crazy shots, some crazy memories for the future. So you'll not miss those moments when using these cameras. And every year these cameras are getting smarter, they are getting lots of new features, lots of automatic things that are really nice to have in these days, and these are amazing. These are really fantastic in my opinion. So in this video I decided to share with you once and for all why I use these cameras in this way, in automatic mode, and why you shouldn't think a lot about cinematic shots, because one single setting can ruin the whole footage that you just made. Hello everyone, and welcome back to this new video on my channel. If you haven't been here before, I'm Photorabs, a portrait photographer based in France, and I create content about anything related to cameras and mainly action cams, vlogging kits, and this kind of stuff. If you are interested, I highly appreciate if you join me on this journey, if you subscribe to my channel and enjoy this video. Anyway, let me tell you that with these cameras, you can get great footage. You can get great images that you are really proud of. You can get some amazing videos, some amazing colors, and whatever you would like to get, it's really feasible on these tiny little cameras. And let's be honest, if you'd like that motion blur, if you'd like those manual settings, if you'd like to follow this 180-degree shutter rule, of course you can do that. But to get those crazy shots, those amazing shots, it does not rely only on these settings, on these parameters, because the real key here is to know the bells and whistles of your camera, to master your camera, to master every single setting, every single menu in order to get max out of it. Because one single error in dialing some settings, or one single element that you miss while you are dialing your settings, that can ruin your footage, and that can take your footage from here to here easily. Yesterday I made a video with this camera, the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, with this cinematic lens, and I called that video cinematic just to try to trigger you on something that I would like to talk about. It's been a long time. So I took that video. I'm really happy with the footage, I'm really happy with the video quality, with the colors, with the lights, with everything. But I was shooting in manual exposure, as I said in that video, just to show you those 180-degree shutter rule and the effects that you can get, the motion blur, the natural motion blur that you can get. But I noticed that we have some flickering on the branch of the trees behind me and in the scenes, especially when I'm walking, not when the camera is standing still. But then I decided to keep them just to be able to make this video today, to talk to you in an honest way about my thoughts about these cameras and why I think these are amazing in automatic modes. On another note, I really enjoyed shooting with this lens because the new aspect ratio that was unlocked with it is really amazing. It will allow you to think a lot about your framing, about how you are positioning your camera, especially for those shots when the camera was standing still, because you have these black bars, you don't have lots of space to work with in post-prods. So this is really nice. I really love that, and I love the eye log on this camera, how I colored it. It feels like I was just feeling so happy when I was making those color grades, and yeah, I really loved those colors here. So let's go back a little bit to that video. I was shooting in manual exposure, 4K 25 frames per second, 1/50th of the second shutter speed in order to have that natural motion blur. And I was shooting, of course, with a fixed white balance. It was not automatic white balance. The ISO was also fixed, but I had that electronic stabilization activated on the low level on this one, because you have the low, standard and high. So it was on the low, and that was the thing that ruined the footage. Let me explain you why. Actually, we have to understand how this electronic stabilization works. Well, for the camera here, it will take the images that were recorded just before the frame that it is in, and it will try to understand what is moving and what is not moving in order to make those stabilization. But when you are shooting in 1/50th of the second, you don't have much photos or much images to give to the processor in order to analyze well what's happening. So it is really struggling. So when we say that at lower shutter speed, the electronic stabilization is struggling a lot and low light, well, this is it, because you don't have much information for the camera, for the processor to work perfectly. So the camera was seeing me walking in the scene, whether at the same distance from the camera when I was walking and talking at the same time, but the tree branches are moving on the trees. I mean, the leaves on the tree branches are moving behind, and they are also moving regarding the position of the camera, because the camera is also moving. So here we have two motions in one single piece of element, in one single frame, that the camera has to analyze quickly in order to stabilize the footage. And this is why we have those flickers in the background in the leaves of the trees, and this is why we have some jerkiness and some like wobbles on the side, because everything is moving, and it's really impossible for the camera, for any camera, to handle those in a good way. But here you might say, why you didn't increase the shutter speed? For example, going from 1/50th of the second to 1/200th of the second, and maintaining that 180-degree shutter rule if you increase your frame rate from 25 frames per second to 50 frames per second. Well, actually, I could have done that, but going from 1/50th of the second to 1/200th of the second, that means that I'm losing 2 stops of light. That means that I'm obliged to go from ISO 100, let's say, to ISO 400, so to compensate with the ISO level. And when you increase the ISO, you will add grain, you will add this noise to your image, as you know, of course, because these are tiny little sensors. Again, they cannot handle high ISO in a very good way or in a very neat way as you would like them to be. So imagine you were shooting with 400 ISO, and then you have to crank it up to 1600. That's a lot, you know. I don't know if you got the point here, but you are solving one issue, but you are introducing another issue to your footage. So this is why one single setting that you miss might ruin your footage, and you won't be happy with the whole result at the end of the day. And that's why you have to understand all the bells and the whistles of your camera before thinking about these kind of shoots. But then there will be another group. They will say that you can turn off the stabilization and you can use a gimbal. Well, this will remove all the electronic stabilization and you will rely only on mechanical stabilization. But you have to think about many things. Actually, when you are working with a gimbal, it's not so easy. You cannot do the same kind of motion, the same kind of movements that you do if you are working without a gimbal, because there is what we call the ninja walk that you have to master, and it takes too much time and too much effort and too much trials, too much errors in order to get it well. But even still, if you master this ninja walk, you cannot compensate for the ups and downs of the gimbal, because with these kind of gimbals you don't have the z-axis that is stabilized, so you don't have this opportunity to remove this. And to be honest, the electronic stabilization has a great advantage when it comes to this ups and downs when you are walking. It will smooth out all of these bumps of your steps, of your footsteps, that you cannot do easily with a gimbal unless you are a professional. But if you are just a hobbyist, if you'd like just to record some movements, you cannot do that with these. This is why we can see lots of stabilizers for smartphones, but we don't see much stabilizers for action cameras. Of course, you can use it on an action camera, and here on the screen you are seeing that, but these are not made for action cameras. For smartphones, because you have the stabilization that is baked in, the electronic stabilization, you add a little bit of this one and you can get those smooth shots that you are really proud of. But with action cameras, and if you are shooting with this 180-degree shutter speed rule, you don't have all the flexibilities and all the key elements in order to get these smooth footages out of a smartphone gimbal with an action camera on top of it. In some other words, you are trading convenience with the electronic stabilization of your camera and the free kind of walks and movement inside of your frame to having a gimbal and mastering some different techniques and adding some complexity to what you are doing. So what is the real solution for that? And for me, after many years of using these cameras, I came to different solutions that I will share with you in this video. Number one is shoot in automatic mode. Enjoy what you are doing, concentrate on the story that you are telling, concentrate on the sports that you are doing, on the moment that you are living in, and let the camera do everything in automatic exposure and just enjoy what's happening. Number two is to use a dedicated gimbal where you can mount your camera in a very balanced way and have those ninja walks and master this kind of work with gimbal. And of course you will get that motion blur if you have a knowledge about how you are exposing, what you are exposing for, then the filters, and a mix of everything, by the way. And number three, if you would like to add that motion blur to your footage, you can still shoot in automatic exposure and go, for example, to Insta360 Studio on your computer or even on your application on your smartphone and add those motion blurs that you can adjust in the way that you want in order to make them feel realistic and natural. But that will add an extra step in post-processing, which might not be so interesting for lots of people who are using these kind of cameras just to record moments and to share them with their families, with the public, with their friends, whatever. So once again, these are tiny cameras. They are made to be used quickly, to post quickly, to share moments quickly without the hassle of going back and forth to a computer to edit the footage and so on. But of course you can do that. But in my opinion, these are not made for those purposes. So for me, the whole purpose of these cameras is fun. Being ready to capture the moments quickly, being ready always to record some memories for later on. This is what these cameras are made for, in my opinion. So do not overthink the settings, do not overthink the menus, do not overthink the image quality that you might achieve if you are shooting with this or with that mode or with this setting or with that setting, because that might you miss some shots. This is one. Or that might if you miss one setting, you will ruin the whole footage that you worked hard to get or to achieve. Because imagine you are surfing, you are hiking, you are riding your bike on a motorcycle, you cannot go back and forth to the camera to change the settings and to put the manual mode to adjust the exposure, to adjust the white balance. So you cannot do that. This is why I'm making those car vlogs, in order to cover this kind of points here, because I do not ride bicycle in every day, I do not have a motorcycle to ride it, I don't surf. So yeah, I wanted to show you these cameras in real conditions. So when you are in your car on your bike ride, you cannot change these settings, you know. This is very dangerous to change the settings at every single frame or at every single scene or at every single path, you know. You cannot do that. You cannot adjust that yourself. You have to rely on what the camera is capable of and on what the camera is offering you. So for these reasons, these cameras should nail the automatic exposure in a very good way, without getting you back and forth to the camera, to the back screen or to the front screen to change settings. You have just to take it out, set one single mode, which is the best that works for you, and shoot in automatic exposure and let the camera decide what's good, what's not good, because otherwise you will overthink the settings and you will lose the moment that you are in. So this is why personally I like using these cameras in automatic mode. This is my personal preferences. These might not be yours. Once again, this is only how I think, how I work with these cameras, and how I feel that the purpose of these cameras are. So once again, this is my own thought about how I use these cameras. Do not get me wrong, you can use them in the way that you want. You can shoot in D-Log and I-Log, you can do whatever you want with them. This is up to you. These are just my advices and my way of work. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, don't forget to like down below, to subscribe, to ring the bell so you'll not miss my upcoming posts on my channel. And yeah, that's it. I hope you liked it. Ciao for now.